Well, we asked Alan Milburn to do this report because I've been really worried about young people and the number of them that are out of work. This is a long-standing, long-term problem. It's been going on for many years. It's complicated and complex, as Alan Milburn makes clear. There's no single thing that you can say that's the reason. So obviously we will now work with Alan on what more needs to be done. I'm pleased that some of the measures we've already put in place are coming on train next month. So particularly the stuff about apprentices. We've been talking to apprentices here, vitally important for young people. So what we've put in place is £3,000 support for any employer that takes someone who's been unemployed for 6 months, a young person, and gives them an apprenticeship, that start that they need. Also, if a young person's been out of work for 18 months, we're guaranteeing a job for them for 6 months. We know from previous experience that that gives them a good chance of maintaining that job. So some of those measures are in place. We clearly need to go more. This is, I think a real sobering report, and we cannot afford, we will not allow a lost generation. And so we'll work with Alan now on what more needs to be done.
What does it say about your premiership that Labour's most successful leader, Tony Blair, says you don't have a plan?
Well, let me start with where I agree with Tony Blair. I agree with him that we should be having a discussion about policy and ideas, and that's what generates politics. That's where the focus should be. So Tony is right about that. You won't be surprised to know that I don't agree with much what Tony says about what the government is doing. We can all argue about individual policies, but the real question is, what's the change, what's the difference that is happening in a country that we inherited 2 years ago in a very poor place? We put the policy in place to stabilise the economy and make sure that it grew so wealth was created in every part of the country. Because of our policy choices, that is happening. And you see that in the figures that were out this year, in recent months in particular. We took policy choices that we needed better public services. They were on their knees when we inherited them. We took policy choices that we would invest in those public services, that we would introduce new technologies, particularly in the NHS. As a result, waiting lists are coming down, with the biggest drop for 17 years actually recorded just 2 weeks ago. So with the right policy choices there. We also had to address the question of how do we get migration down without affecting economic growth, which is a difficult balance. Again, we took our policy choices, and you've seen the growth figures are up, the migration figures are down, which tells you the change that we brought about in 2 short years. And then on the sort of international stage, which is obviously hugely important at such a volatile time, we have in 2 short years rebuilt our relationship with many countries, particularly in the EU. We're now a trusted colleague, an ally of our EU partners, but at the same time as maintaining our relationship with the US. And so many people said that wouldn't be possible. So actually, my response to Tony is, yes, it's right to talk about policy, it's right to talk about ideas, that's where the debate should be, but actually, no, I don't agree that the policy choice of this government weren't the right policy choices, given what we inherited, very different situation in 2024 to 1997, and dealing with what we had to turn around. The policy choices we're vindicated by them because those changes have happened.
Will you run if there's a leadership race this summer?
I've said many times that we were elected on a mandate of change in 2024. I'm not going to walk away from that because of the great change that we brought about already. There's obviously more work to do. The economy is stabilising, but we want to make sure that where there's economic growth, more wealth, it's in every part of the country. Doing a lot of work, for example, on apprenticeships. Hugely important in light of Alan Bilmwood's report. I want young people to have the chance to earn or to learn. That doesn't happen without a government that rolls up its sleeves, gets on the pitch and gives them those opportunities. I want public services to be better. We've already changed the NHS for the better, so there's a lot more to do. And as I've said a number of times, I'm not walking away from the responsibility that was invested in me. People invested in me the responsibility to get on and govern. And I think the vast majority of people want us, politicians, to get on with the job they elected us to do, which is get on, run the country and improve their lives. And that's what I'll do.
pressure sensor handle, so it takes all of the weight. So each of these crates weighs about between 50 and 60 kilos. So it removes all of the manual handling that it's called a manipulator.
Oh,
so
I see, yeah.
you can rotate the brake to work on it.
I've got you.
You can easily lift it up or
Yeah.
you can find it.
Yeah. It's a very sensitive handle.
It's a bit like the cameras when you're doing the football.
So it's got an electrical sensor in this handle here.
So what does that mean?
It just moves and takes all the weight.
Oh, I see. So if you put using your hand.
But if you take your hand off that, you can't move this up and down, so you won't be able to move
Oh, I
it.
see. Yeah. That's very sophisticated.
A lot of safety features involved.
Yeah.
And one of the things, so when we get young women around, we try to show them these kind of things, because you don't need to be able to lift a lot of heavy weights. We take a lot of that out.
That's fantastic.
Women's
So
all
the
about
best job you've ever had?
Yes.
I love that.
I worked in an oil shop. I'm 32 years old. I'm really from
Keir, nice to see you. How are you doing? I'm the apprentice here. Okay. And what age were you when you started?
I started at 18, fresh out of A-level. I finished my sixth grade.
Finished through A-levels, then came through.
Yeah,
My son was looking after them, so having a discussion. There's too much pressure. Not enough. It's not going out.
I think it's good to get the work experience there.
Yeah.
You do something like that. I'm studying blocks, so I got placement, so I'll be in the wheels department, which I currently am in.
And is this one of the schemes where it's like 3 months here?
Yeah,
And then 3 months
three
something
months
else?
here, then 3 months of studying.
Right.
Studying usually lasts for the first 2 years, and then it's full placement for any technical
Right.
level.
Is this refurb?
It's overhaul, so
Right.
they,
And then this is now ready to go back out.
yeah, these
Number of stops.
Yeah,
The strain on the wheels and the brakes is just incredible.
yeah, you see all the work that goes into it.
Did you know you wanted to come into this kind of engineering?
Well, my first two were engineering and you get to choose any policeman.
Because you do the rotation, and then you get to see your best 3. And then was this what you chose? Oh, that's great.
First come, first served. So you can get into the place you want to go. So,
So finish first.
That would have been cool.
I mean, if you'd said to all those people in shipyards 50 years ago,
Working at uni.
Yeah, but it's really good, 3 women, because one thing we were just talking about is trying to get beyond the perception that this isn't something which girls and young women should want to do, when it clearly is. So, are you able to go back into your schools and things and tell people what you do? That's brilliant. And give them a sense of it, which is really good.
It is good. If it had been my mum's way, she didn't want me to do it. But I was,
Really?
yeah. But yeah, I've persisted, so yeah.
Well, good for you.
Quite detail oriented.
Yeah.
And we can pick things up that, yeah, but I think it is really good.
Yeah.
But the STEM events are like incredibly important. My little sister signed up for work experience.
Oh, you were just talking about the scheme there. How old's your little sister?
She's 16.
Right, yeah, so this is the one that you opened well, last year for friends and family. Okay.
one of the things, so we're interested in TFL solving the opportunity.